Seminole Nation. Welcome into another episode of the Renegade Rundown. As always, it's your guy, George, with my beautiful, lovely co-host, Jen Santee, a.k.a. at Jen Santee 1890 on X. You can find her, the lovely and beautiful, as always. We've got a great show for you guys. I was wondering how much we were going to have to talk about, but with the dozen NFL Knowles over there at the Combine, they have just absolutely dominated that thing. We've got a lot to talk about with the Combine. Maybe we'll pull up some stuff to look at. But besides that, something came up here right at the last minute about maybe, I guess, almost 2 hours now ago. I believe it was Ross Dellinger reported that the NCAA has come out and decided they are going to temporarily suspend enforcing any NIL type enforcement when it comes to regards to third-party NIL deals. Pretty much exactly what Alex Atkins is on the hook for. They're going to stop now. Nobody else is going to get penalized. They're not going to investigate. They're not going to do anything during that time span. The way you read it, it can be read two ways. That Alex Atkins is going to be good and free. They're not going to enforce anything while it's suspended. But you can read it another way, and what me and Jen most likely feel like we're going to end up with Daryl Jackson 2.0, which would be an absolute nightmare. There's people out there, ACC defenders, apologists, whatever you want to talk about it, really belittling Florida State's case and trying to act like they have some kind of moral high ground. So there's a few things we're going to look at. One of our friends kind of eviscerated this lawyer from Duke on Twitter the other day. So we'll take a look at that statement that he made and talk about some of that. The NCAA is also on some more BS. They're talking about adding a 2-minute rule, a 2-minute clock into college football. After basically, bringing not stopping the clock after first downs, all these things to shorten the game so they could fit more commercials in. Now, okay, they figure, well, we shortened it too much. We can fit in another huge media timeout right here at the 2-minute warning. So tons of stuff to talk about. But how are we doing today, Jen?
I am doing good, just a little tired. So, if I seem a little tired, guys, I apologize. I'm going to work on it.
It happens, man. It happens.
It's been a long day. It's been a long day.
Yeah, Jen is a busy woman. Busy woman, and when you do these things 3 times a week, and then you do podcasts in between, you're going to be a little tired every once in a while. But let's start off with the NFL Combine. There was a whole lot of trolling that's went on, whether it's on X or whether you're on Facebook or whether it's at work. Oh, look, 63-3. There's a good reason they left Florida State out of the playoffs. Look what happened. They got blown off the field when they played Georgia. They never had any chance. You've got me and Jen telling you guys, look, it is what it is. We're missing 10, 12, 13 NFL players. The majority of our starters and even a lot of our second teamers who are coming back are not playing. You're looking at a third string quarterback, a third string roster almost for that thing. Georgia lost the SEC championship. They were pissed off. They had something to prove to come out and beat FSU. FSU had nothing left to prove. They were undefeated and they were left out. And you see why a Braden Fiske didn't risk it. There was no biscuit there. If you're going to risk it, there's got to be some kind of reward down the line. And I know we talk about, you should still love the game, and the bowl game is still a reward. There's still all kind of cool packages that come with going on those trips. But look, if you're going to run a 4.78 at almost 300 pounds in the NFL Combine, you do what you do. Florida State's looking at possibly 3 first-round picks with the emergence of Braden Fiske. Just there with the guys talking on the broadcast, they were saying basically from everybody they were talking to, he's already locked up a spot in the top of the second round and could very easily inch up into that first round. Crazy player comparisons. When you look at his broad jump, his vertical, his 40-yard dash, everything, it's almost identical to a guy like Geno Atkins, who of course is a 10-year player in the NFL and just an absolute perennial Pro Bowler, and all that stuff. It's really unreal for a guy that's 300 pounds to run 4.78. When on the other end of it, you see guys like Sweat running like a 5.33 or a 5.66 or something. Pretty unreal. He actually beat out 7 linebackers. So there's 7 linebackers and edge players that, that Fiske was faster than with his 40-yard dash, which is pretty remarkable. And then Kalen DeLoach, not to be outdone, 4.47. 4.47 for Kalen DeLoach, your linebacker at Florida State, and that 4.25 defense that Adam Fuller runs. Meanwhile, what did you catch? What the 40 time was on the pair of Miami safeties?
No, but I'm willing to listen to see what you have to say about it.
4.65.
I didn't see any of their coping videos today about their moral winnings, so I'm guessing it wasn't great.
No, not great. No, yeah, they both ran 4.65. So our linebacker, a good, 15 hundredths of a second, which is like an eternity in a 40-yard dash, which is pretty funny. And then Jared Verse came in at 4.60. I believe actually the official was 4.58. So he was, I believe, the number 4 overall edge player, and still one of the fastest players out there. I believe he might have been like number 7 overall for all the front 7 players. I'm not sure. I might be wrong about that one, but all 3 super talented. Number 1, number 4, and number 2 respectively at their position group. And Kalen DeLoach also number 3 overall, which of course your linebackers are going to be the fastest. But that defensive end, Dallas Turner, that was pretty impressive for him to have the second fastest time.
I thought he was a linebacker. Isn't he a linebacker?
Well, they got him listed as an edge guy. He's going to play edge in the NFL. So, yeah. But, yeah, he's definitely more a linebacker size than your guys that are listed at defensive end. It's something we've talked about a lot with all these 4.25 defenses, but some people still running 3.4. It's pretty ridiculous. You have linebackers, then you have edge, and then you have defensive end distinction in the combine. So they've got the defensive end, it's split up into 2 positions. They just don't call it outside linebacker anymore. They call it edge because the majority of these teams are running 4 down fronts. And, they've got a guy like Brian Burns or, Marvin Jones Jr. Marvin Jones Jr. is a little bit bigger, but Patrick Payton, these type of guys who they're not really going to stand you up and, be that power run defender, but they will rush that passer for sure. But yeah, Jerry and Jones, Gianni, FSU takes the word right out of my mouth. Jerry and Jones, we talked about it. I don't know if he might have actually gotten one of the spaces we were doing, or maybe it was supposed to, but we talked about it a ton. He called his shot on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. He was like, I'm about to show you guys what's up this year. And he backed it up. Comes out and runs a 4.38 40 on his first go, and that's it. He pulled a Deion Sanders, and he ran past the finish line of that 40 and ran right out of the building. It only took one go. He was done. But, yeah, that surprised a whole lot of people. I believe 4.29 for Jalen Wiggins ends up being the fastest time for all the DBs, but Jerry and Jones not too far back there at that nickel position. The commenters even brought it up. That's definitely what he'll play in the NFL. And he was dominant, absolutely dominant at that nickel position, able to play man coverage against all kind of, wide receivers, tight ends. It doesn't matter. And you see why with that time at 4.38. And then the chat might have to help me. Renardo Green actually came in. I think he busted the 4s with a 4.49, which is a very respectable time for a guy who's super he's a lot more physical, more of a press corner. So he got that good time. The chat's talking about Wiggins is legit. Man, yeah, back when we played Clemson, we were all in those different spaces and having people on the podcast and having Clemson guests on the spaces. And they were telling us about how good Wiggins is. And I was like, all right, we'll see. I'm not doubting it, but from what I had seen and known about him, I thought he was a, late second, early third round guy. But sure enough, we played that game and they had my respect after that. I was like, yeah, that dude is a first round cornerback, no doubt about it. And he came out there and ran a 4.29, but prayers out there for him. Hopefully it wasn't nothing big on the broadcast. The sideline reporter said that his his groin had popped and that it was burning. But yeah, hopefully he's all right. But it did not sound good.
Good Lord.
On the broadcast.
I will never forget. I can't remember. Maybe the chat can tell me who it was at the combine. But do you remember the one person? Maybe it wasn't. No, it was the combine. They were lifting or they were running. I cannot remember what it was.
We talking about when the wardrobe malfunction happened?
No, I'm talking about the guy whose pelvic muscle separated from his.
Ooh, that's even worse.
Yeah, it was. Oh God, I want to say it might have been 2013, 2012. I want to say it might have been a UCLA player. I just remember listening to Jeff Cameron, and they were talking about that has to be the worst injury.
I'm glad
I don't know if it was like a squat lift and like the muscle in the pelvic bone separated and popped. And you just want to say, talk about getting a kick in the nuts. That has to be the worst thing I've ever heard. I'm sorry. Anyway, go ahead.
How infuriating is it seeing all these guys when you get the front seven out there and basically the Florida State players are the star of the show? I just said it earlier. The fastest D tackle, the fourth fastest edge guy. It's on and on. The second fastest linebacker, third fastest overall. How bad does it piss you off seeing that, knowing that we just didn't get a chance to see this defense perform at its highest level in that playoff, all over again, as much as you want to forget it?
Well, I mean, it's infuriating, but it's also expected. We knew what that defense was when they were left out. So you kind of knew exactly how they were going to perform. You knew who they were. Because again, it used to be defense wins championships unless it's Florida State's defense, because Alabama needs to have a free ride into the playoff. And so we kind of expected that. Or at least, you and I did. I mean, we knew these guys were going to show out. Braden Fiske, guys, is so good. I don't know. I hate that we don't have him back. I hate it. I wish he had another year. I mean, can you imagine? He'd probably be a top 10 pick. Easy,
oh my
peasy, lemon squeezy.
Oh my goodness. I mean, when you saw him and the way he balled out at the end of the season against Louisville, I mean, you really saw that he probably wasn't healthy the entire time. When he was totally healthy, he was unstoppable. Along with Verse, it's really a shame that we didn't get to see that thing at its highest level, because all across the field, you've got 4'4", 4'5" guys. And like you said, Fiske, he would probably be a top 10 pick if he had another year at Florida State. But he's likely to pop into that first round. He's got a good chance now with the show he's put on. Of course, Coleman has a shot to go in the first. If anything, he may have be the only person that's lost just a little bit of luster, just because I'm not sure if he's been working out, or maybe I'm missing something there on that one. Somebody could let me know what his exact status is. I don't know how I missed out on that. But yeah, man, everybody that has performed and ran the 40s and the different shuttles and everything else, they have just absolutely been explosive. And it's just a shame we didn't get to see them compete even against Georgia. It would have been fun to see it, but it is what it is. We won't harp on it all day long, but it sure just is a breath of fresh air to see 12 Florida State Seminoles at the combine. And when it comes time for the 40, which is kind of like, it's the dunk contest of the 90s and early 2000s. It's that thing. It's the part of the combine everybody cares about. And to have, guys go out there and put on a show like Jerry and Jones and Braden Fiske and Jared Verse, it's just beautiful to see. And when you talk about defensive line continuity, defensive line recruiting, sustainability, what's the thing I'm always arguing with these people? High school this, high school that. It's not sustainable to pull guys out of the portal. But let's just do a scorecard of guys that are at the NFL Combine right now, balling out. Fabian Lovett would be the first one. I believe it was 20 that he comes in. He's there. He put on a show with the measurables. Unfortunately, I'm not sure how much work he's doing. Fabian Lovett, or just maybe he hasn't yet. After Fabian Lovett, the next year, you bring in a little guy named Jermaine Johnson. He was pretty good. He was there for 1 year, first round draft pick. The next year, you bring in a guy named Jared Verse, another guy at our combine that we just told you, the fourth fastest edge guy with a 4.58. He's there for 2 years. The next year, who do you get after Jared Verse? Just a little guy named Braden Fiske. It's pretty amazing. And behind them, who do you have? Daryl Jackson, another portal guy who just pretty much sat on the bench, chomping at the bit last year. You have a Joshua Farmer comeback that you have just completely developed out of high school. It's really a beautiful thing to see these storylines finally get tore down. Vaughn Meyer Jr. says, don't forget Tatum Bethune. Absolutely. I was speaking just defensive line there, because really defensive line is where they really harp. That you just got to get all the guys from high school. You're not going to be able to support them from the portal, but I've watched them year after year after year bring in guys. You bring in a Marvin Jones Jr. this year, who fits right into that narrative with all those different guys, except for he's the most talented, the most physically gifted, the most highly ranked out of high school, out of anything. And it's really a beautiful thing. And the same thing with the DBs. When you look at what Jerry and Jones did in the development that he had in the 4 years there, and the same thing with Renardo Green, a different guy who was out of high school at the college almost the same exact amount of time. Both the guys, 4 years, one out of high school, one out of the portal, both with beautiful development, both putting on a show at the combine. And now Patrick Surtain has immensely more talented, according to high school, quote unquote, star rankings, DBs to work with. So all these people that are waiting for Florida State to fall off, watch out. I don't know what you think, but I think Florida State has a real good shot to break the 3-year draft record set while Jimbo Fisher was here from 2012 to 2014. I believe we had 29 guys drafted. It was 11, 7, and 11. I believe we have a real good shot of having 10, 11 guys drafted this year, maybe even all 12. We'll see. And then 4 or 5 next year, and another loaded class. So you heard it here first. I'm predicting it right now. In this day and age, what Mike Norvell is doing, his evaluation with his recruiting going up, I think that you're going to see the NFL extremely, extremely value the product that comes out the back door at Florida State. The continuity, I'll say it again, with the coaching staff and getting these guys truly developed and getting their absolutely highest potential. I saw a tweet by James Coleman, and he said, 12 interviews, 12 guys told me the best thing that ever happened to them was Mike Norvell. 12 guys who said it's not for everybody. It's one of the hardest things they've ever done in their life, but they learned about themselves. So just absolutely beautiful. And you love to see it, Jen. I couldn't be more hyped right now.
Yeah. I mean, I love it too. And I'm hopeful for it. I guess I'll see. I am so kind of jaded against a lot of this process now when it comes to Florida State, just with, we know about the snub and we know about other things that go on. But now with the NCAA just saying, oh, well, the SEC is upset, so now it's always going to be against FSU for me right now. Maybe I am one of those lunatic fringe fans. Maybe I am. But
we can get into that. That's a perfect transition.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Let me get your opinion on it. And I guess, talk to the folks. I said a little bit about the beginning, but NCAA comes down, releases today that they will be suspending any enforcement on third-party NIL dealings. They're not going to investigate them. They're not going to enforce anything new going forward. So what's your opinion on that, Jim? What do you think comes out of this situation exactly?
Well, my opinion on that is that Greg Sankey got his, female part hurt and called in some favors because Florida and UT were on the chopping block here. UT is a multiple offender, multiple by the NCAA, multiple. And they're losers. They are going 120 in a speeding zone, and they still lose. And they've still not been relevant since 98. So again, isn't this nice? Isn't it nice that you can be Tennessee, you can be Florida, you can be going 100 in a 20-mile-an-hour zone, and because you get mad, the NCAA is like, well, we're just going to let that go, but we're going to punish Florida State. Of course they do. And if anybody thinks this is going to be like reversed against Florida State, babies, I've got some beachfront property I'd like to sell you right here in the city of Memphis. You can see the beautiful Gulf of Mexico from here. I don't know how to tell you can see it, but I promise you it's here. Just send me $1,000 on Venmo, and it's yours.
Sorry about that. We just had a possible guest that might pop in. That would be like extremely amazing. I won't tease it in case he can't make it. But yeah, I agree. It's really annoying when you see these people that you can't stand that are constantly bagging on you. And anytime you're in a situation, they're like, "How dare you? You can, eat your medicine. It's all your fault." But as
Yep.
soon as it's their ass in the grass or their ass in the hot grease, bam, jumped right out of the frying pan, no problem. And it would be really insane after what happened to Daryl Jackson, to where the kid from North Carolina literally gets his waiver.
Oh yeah.
So it ends up to where Daryl Jackson is literally like, there may have been some smaller cases that weren't really heavily reported on. But no, Daryl Jackson, he's the only one. Now you get this where Florida State is the very first one they go after. They're like, all right, we'll work with you. We don't want a bunch of trouble. And they come up to an agreement. And now the very next person and second and consecutive person fights it. So now they're just pausing it. Well, I'm here to say, Florida State's lawyers, they're going to at least appeal, make some plea to the NCAA to get this fixed. Get some way where, at the very minimum, you don't face the scholarship restrictions. Maybe reduce it to one game. Because for them to pause it in every single other big time program in the entire country to be off the hook, and the only single team, the only program subjected to these third-party NIL rules is Florida State. Oh, you're going to have some pissed off mother hunches.
Well, I mean,
Jen.
They can be pissed off all they want to, but I'm old enough to remember the same NCAA gave Joe Pa, who covered up for a child molester, his wins back, and left Bobby Bowden out in the cold for not knowing about a music class, guys, a freaking music class. I don't want to hear anything from the NCAA anymore. I think they're corrupt. I think everybody's corrupt. Hey, covering up for child molestation, you can get your wins back because you decided to croak. Not even covering up, self-reporting, cheating in a music class that means absolutely nothing to anybody. No, you can't have your wins back. And by the way, then you get to die without them. And you lose your winningest coach ever. So no, they're not going to give Florida State a break here. The fact that they gave Joe Pa his wins back instead of Bobby is the most absurd thing I've ever heard. So no, the NCAA is not going to retroactively give Florida State off this punishment because that was the point of the punishment. That's what they do.
Well, guys, we are in for a treat. I teased a bit of a mystery guest, and absolutely live from the combine, we have got my guy James Coleman. We'll give him a second, and we're going to pull him up here on the screen. You couldn't ask for a better guy to join the show. I just gave the whole spiel and my thoughts on the combine, and now we got into this NCAA stuff. I can't wait to see his opinion on both. And we will add him to the screen. Big game. What's up, man?
You got to eat when you can when you're up here, so forgive me.
Oh, man, you good.
So,
Indianapolis, Indiana. We were just talking about, I'm not sure if you saw it broke, but we got a Daryl Jackson situation with Alex Atkins to where the NCAA has suspended, all enforcement of third-party NIL rules. So I don't know if it's going to be that situation where literally Florida State is the only program hurt by this temporary rule change, temporary decision to start enforcing a particular rule a different way. But it's the exact same thing that happened to Daryl Jackson. And now here we have it where they have Alex Atkins is going to miss 3 games, lose scholarships. I have to imagine there's going to be something they can do. There's got to be some kind of meeting in the middle here.
Well, one of the big things is depends on how they interpret the rules.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a suspension of enforcement, then that means they can't enforce the rules in which they can't enforce what was levied against Florida State. So maybe Atkins could come in. Maybe they'll just say, "Hey, it's really not that big of a deal. We'll come into it." I know they'll probably cross the bridge when it comes to it. But right now, everything's full go to continue to move forward and build toward the season.
Absolutely. As for now, you just pretend like you don't have Alex Atkins for those first 3 weeks, but sure would be nice to have the man over there and in Ireland smoking cigars, which I don't know the exact logistics. Maybe he can make the trip and just can't coach on the field for the game. I'm not sure.
We'll see. It's actually something. I don't know if he would have known. He might not even be fully aware of it as well. I should have asked who else is coming, but right now, Coach Yak is actually in Indianapolis. I actually ran into him as I was leaving the Lucas Oil, and he's going up to go see Jaheim and networking, and obviously everybody's coming for the show tomorrow to see what Trey Benson. Yak says he's going to go 4-4 something. Trey says he's going sub 4-4. So,
yeah, Trey called his shot. He said he's busting out that 4-3. Jerry and Jones busting out the 4.38. What a year. Of all the years to be at the combine. I've talked to a few different people. I've got a kind of interesting take. It feels a lot like 2012, which would be the 2013 draft, where you had 11 guys go. But bam, you won a national championship the next year, and kind of then only lost 6 or 7. Then the following year, 2014, Jimbo gets 11 guys drafted. You end up with a 29-year or a 29-player run in there in 3 years. I think Mike's got a real shot to challenge that thing. It may be a little different. Maybe it's 8-8 instead of 7-11, but I don't know. I think he's got a shot.
Well, I'm in the midst of trying to upload content, and I'm getting crushed, man. It's not fun at all. Like, what I really need to do is I need an intern that can come in and I can produce the content. Put it up there. I just need somebody to come in and just make sure that it looks good, and all the cool stuff. But we've got a lot of guys that we're talking, and one of the biggest things that a lot of the guys are saying is that, wow, y'all think we're doing good? Shoot. Wait till next year. That's all it is wait till next year. Wait till next year. Next year is going to be better. Next year is going to be better. And I fully believe these guys. I think these guys truly believe and are truly confident in what the next set of Noles are going to do in moving the program forward in the correct direction. They're all bought into Mike Norvell. They just really have full confidence, and it's a dope thing to be able to see them speak on Mike in the manner in which they do speak on Mike. So I think the fan base has plenty to be hype about. I would just say, just after today, standing on business and just forget about the trolls, man. Trolls are going to troll, and I think too much of our time is spent going back and forth with people who would love to. And one of the things I've been stressing and saying a lot of is I don't really care what people have to say about me, because a lot of people would kill they would kill to have my failures be their success. And yes, people are like, oh, you got beat by 60, you got beat by this, you got beat by that. But they got beat by nothing. They couldn't even be in the position that we were in. And again, you got to remember, stop arguing with people who would kill to be in your position.
Facts. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, I agree with the players. I mean, it makes sense. I told people about your tweet where you said, you interviewed 12 different people, and every single one of them said, it was the best thing they ever did was coming to Florida State and being a part of the program. And that it was, one of the hardest things they ever were a part of, one of the most challenging things to be a part of. It's not for everyone, kind of that common theme through there. And it shows. And you look at the talent that's replacing them. And if you want to look at, what we're talking about, the metrics, the pundits, the rankings, 247, they're all higher, rated. MJJ was all world. DJU was 101. Jaylen Brown comes over, all world, type recruits. So it really is great. And I can't wait to see what we do moving forward. I think the data, this is the first real data set where you're seeing complete teams in Michigan and Florida State that were built partially through the portal. A little different model. Same thing with Washington. There's a lot of draft picks out here. I think you're seeing just, as things move, it changes. It's, things move in waves, just like the 4-3 defense versus the 3-4 defense. It's the same thing with talent acquisition. And as long as that portal's there, it's going to be a different game. And now with the unlimited transfers, call it free agency, call it whatever you want. I'd rather get somebody that I've watched film, and I know exactly what he is, and I can judge off of that. So I love what they're doing, whether it's 50-50 or 60-40. Keep on rocking with it. And like, and another thing, didn't you have a guy that you spoke to, or I'm not sure, maybe it was an opinion, but it's one of those things where the fans aren't going to necessarily like it. Like people might, want a more flashy high school class each and every year, but Mike Norvell is just going to go get those dudes that want to climb. He's going to get the guys that fit the program that are the best, regardless of what any of that other stuff says. Might have lost you.
Check.
But yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah, there you are.
Yeah, I had to kill my mic. So it wasn't anybody I talked to. It was just what I gathered from listening to all of the guys. And there's a lot of stuff that they have a lot of YouTube and they posted up a lot of the stuff. So I had to open up my things for the members because it's already there, but it's it's tough. That's 15-minute clips of listening to all the different players. But there's times when they all say the exact same thing. Mike Norvell, they like playing for Mike Norvell. Well, a couple of them said Florida State chose me. I didn't choose Florida State. It's one of the toughest things that I've ever done, one of the hardest decisions. You got to realize where you're going at. And that's the thing that I think a lot of these guys are hold on. I got to pause. Jaheim's running.
Oh man, too bad we don't own the rights to that. We throw it up here. I guess I could probably pull that up. Wouldn't be too far fetched.
Everybody's using this stuff, man. Jaheim weighed in at 6'2", 241. Let's see if he's going to let us be able to keep talking shit for another day.
What do you got? 4.48?
He's still running.
I was trying to get a prediction.
4.61.
4.61? That's his first go?
Yes, his first go. That's not bad.
That's faster than both the Miami safeties, ain't it?
Definitely. So we have a tight end that can. We have a tight end and a defensive tackle who can play safety at Miami. So it's not bad. Definitely wanted to be. He's going to want 4.5, but I think that can happen. I think he runs a 4.5. That helps him tremendously.
What's the buzz in the building been like for Braden Fiske the past couple of days as we move into the DBs and stuff now? I mean, it seems like he was really kind of the story of the draft. I mean, not just Florida State fans, but the national coverage. They showed, I'm not sure who the coach was, but they showed some coach or general manager or somebody that was out there helping with the drills. And it looked like that boxing referee, when somebody gets knocked out, you saw Brendan Fiske turn the corner and he was like,
yeah, Fiske gone. Fiske definitely violent with the hands. He comes in. So a lot of people don't realize what the combine is. It was when you were talking about transfer portal in recruiting. What people don't remember is that people thought free agency in the NFL would ruin the scouting combine, but it didn't. Like, it's still important to have your guys that you draft, but it's equally important if you want to win to continue to have guys in the NFL. But when you move on to this, to the underwear Olympics, as I like to call it, first impressions matter. You come in and you want to look chiseled, especially if you've opted out. The thing is, if you opted out, boy, you better look good. You better be here to play. Now, and I'm not talking about the radio. So everything that you want to do, you should look smooth in the drills because all you've had to do for months is work the damn drills, work out. And as a guy who's gone through it, unlike a lot of people, it's literally what you do. You like right now I'm eating some chicken wings, but I'm enjoying the combine. When I was here almost 20 years ago, wasn't eating no chicken wings. I was working, eating very good. You eat clean, you work out, you sleep, you may watch a movie, and I mean, you're not even getting any tail like that. Like you're literally focused on. And sorry, Jen, I don't want to be disrespectful, but you're literally just working out. Like that's all you're doing, and you're recovering. So when you come in, man, I was fine as fuck when I was doing my combine training. Man, I look at some of my pictures. I was like, yo, I look like that. I'd have dated me too.
Best shape of your life, huh?
I'm shocked more than want to date me. But like you want to look good naked because that's damn near what you're doing this whole thing in front of a bunch of weirdos, a bunch of grown ass men who are looking at every piece of part of your body, including your might be I don't know.
That one guy had his thing out there on NFL Network flopping around. He had to give up mid-40.
All my LGBTQCBY people, I'm not saying this to offend you. I just don't know a better way to say it. Okay, my bad. There's nothing more homo than NFL draft time. So when you hear a bunch of men Google and goggle over a bunch of young boys and how they look while they're sweating, glistening, and gyrating. I get the women being excited, but I mean, I'm telling you, there was a guy went in front of me, and
it is weird.
When I did mine, Lord bless them. You can see the prints are showing, dog. Like the prints are there, and they were like, "Look at that man's print," and you're like, "Yo, my man's pause." Like, yo, like, but that's what they're, you're doing that in front of people, and you look at some of Miami's guys. And this is no troll to Miami's guys. You look at Leonard Taylor, and I described him. He looks like a badass, the fat kid in 5th grade, the badass fat kid that can't do nothing. That's always looking for snacks. That's what Leonard Taylor looked like, and that's what he performed like.
It was rough, man. It was like he didn't train at all.
But when you look at Fiske, when Fiske walked in, I say, yo, he has the Bubba Sparks fade going, the Travis Kelce before he got with Taylor Swift, the old school Kelce, like the real fade. And I didn't know he talked like that. He had a little bop with him, and I'm like, yo. The first thing I was telling people, I was like, yo, I like this energy. He might put on a show. And he goes out there. I was 4.75, or 4.78, I believe, whatever. 4.7 something, fast enough to make everybody's eyes turn. 4.31 in the short shuttle, which is incredibly fast for a big guy who they said lacked lateral movement, but his lateral movement is better than what Aaron Donald's was when they came here. One of the knocks that he does have is he doesn't have the long arms, and some of us, I look big upper body, but my hand, I can scratch my knees standing up dang near. That's what you want with your lineman because it gives you leverage. You're able to play with that. But when you look at how he played the game and how explosive he is off the ball, he's really, really good with his hands and not getting jacked back. And you just add the energy that he brought to the drills and how he was just running around and doing stuff, even trying to do more and do extra work. I think Fiske, his personality, he allowed his play or his performance on the field to show what his personality was. And I think that's what has him winning.
Yeah, he like you said, even though he's got those short arms, he's so good at just slapping those hands away and just getting free. I was going to pull his 40 up, but I saw a neat little highlight thing. Here we go. I think this is the drill that he was running where I was talking about, where the dude just went nuts. It's like even when he slips there's absolutely no wasted motion. It's like you expect a DB to recover like that, but to see him doing these things, it's unreal. And they put the ghost up against some of the people that have done these drills the best ever. Texas, I think a linebacker or something from Texas just smokes his ass. Pretty amazing stuff. Pretty jealous, I can't lie. Pretty jealous of you being down there with him, and to see the comparison of a guy like Geno Atkins. It's pretty damn close right there across the board. Pretty awesome to see.
That's a good comparison. I mean, energy is one. And now I want people to realize too, again, with the combine, and that's what I was explaining before that. The combine is not to surprise. The whole purpose of the NFL combine is to get unilateral data, right? So everybody's coming in. Like, you don't want to see them go to Indianapolis one week and they run a 4.5 in Indy, then they run a 4.7 with you. It's to get one, even though we see that time on the NFL Network, whatever the watch of that scout says is what they run. So they can run anywhere from, like, for example, our guys, we could have had one guy put our guy down at 4.2. We could have had somebody put our guy down at 4.5, 4.6. It just doesn't matter. That's just what the NFL has as their baseline time. But you're going there to get your medical. You're going there to get all of these uniform things so that everybody has a one-sheeter and nobody's hiding information. So, but the whole purpose of these drills is to read this and then go back and watch the film, and you tell me, does the speed here match what I saw on film? And it's not just one drill. It's not just the 40. Here's what I'll tell you this. when I saw, again, I'm not using this to troll. I'm using this as a guy who did who's a sports performance expert for damn near 20, for basically once I left. And I've been training my whole life. What that vertical and what that the broad jump and the vertical, if those are low, typically the 40-yard dash isn't as good as it's supposed to be. So when I see a guy jump 42 inches in the vertical and he jumps 10.5 plus in the broad jump, but he only runs a 4.6, what I know, and I watch the film and I see him play fast, what it shows me is that there's a disconnect between him running. He's just not a track guy. He's not a great runner. He may get tense in certain situations, but I know for a fact he's explosive because of the different things that I see. When I saw Fiske jump 33 inches, I knew. I'm like, yo, brother about to put on a show. Same thing with Jared Verse jumping over 10. Jared Verse jumping over 30 inches. Like, that's when you're going to see that. But when I saw Cam Kitchens jump under 10 feet, that let me know on the broad jump, that let me know that he might not be as explosive as what we think he is. So that's that.
Without a doubt. That's, we all saw it. Everybody around here talked about it with Cam Kitchens and the other guy, James Williams. It's like they're linebackers. They're just linebackers. And it's just, it's one of those things. To see it come out on the combine is pretty funny. To see our linebacker outrun them by almost 0.2 of a second.
I think you knew that those guys from Miami, though, weren't doing well when all those coping, Moral Gables videos didn't come out saying how great they did at the combine, even though they only won 7 games and lost to Georgia Tech because they couldn't take a knee. And put Keon Coleman in. Weren't those all the videos of those loser safeties, right? Yeah. Where are those videos today?
I will say Cam Kitchens is a safety. I meant the James Williams guy about being a legitimate linebacker. So I will back that up. I'm not trying to get absolutely flamed on here. I misspoke.
Here's the other thing. I scored 10 touchdowns in college. I got a cup of coffee and beignets in New Orleans. NFL's a different game. If you're not fast in the NFL, it typically doesn't work unless you're in the proper scheme. These guys are going to be good, but what happens is if you opted out, so the joke, you guys opted out, blah, 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 opted out. Everybody who opted out of Florida State showed why they opted out, and at their test, they did well.
Facts.
Right now, if that's how fast those two guys are with working, I believe it worked. It worked in the best interest for Miami for them to not be there, because had they played, Rutgers might have whooped their ass more. I know exactly. If them 5 guys that just tested 6 now with Jaheim Bell tested and they were that fast, I like our chances. So that's the problem, is that there's always an excuse and there's always something to go. Somebody's going to get them on a discount. I believe Cam will probably has a better chance, all jokes aside, a better chance in the NFL than James, only because James doesn't have a true position right now, because out of arrogance, they played a 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", 230-pound guy that runs a 4.65 at safety, as opposed to making him a damn linebacker, which would be way more effective, is what everybody says, as opposed to Cam is really, really good at doing certain things outside of but he guesses a lot. Now, you want to say, James, you're bashing them and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about? Go watch the Georgia Tech film. You see what happens when you guess and you don't have speed. A 4.4 guy doesn't have to go try to jump a ball in a 35-second situation and get beat twice.
Bobby comes in and he says, for years, Miami players have done better in the NFL than they have at Miami. I'm hoping Mario can break that cycle with the level of talent he's bringing in. Well, he's already done the first part. He's broken the cycle of doing good in the we just got to see if he can flip it on the front end.
I think the lineman.
I'm just fucking with you, Bobby.
I think one of the linemen tomorrow, even though I'm not going to go see them, I'm not going to do the media interviews with them, nor will I watch their drills when I get home. I'm probably going to end up flying back early because this is a long time to be here in Indy. It's fun, though.
Got that big coat.
But oh man, it's raining right now. It's cold. Like, people talking about going out, might not be able to do it. Might not happen. Which is funny because it'll be 75 degrees on Monday here, so it'll be Florida weather. But going back to what this is about, the Seminoles, they're the guys. they were great. They were great because what the combine looks for when they see these things is two things. Does it match the film? So does Jared Verse's 4.59 match what we see on the film? Actually, yeah, I was I didn't know. I thought he might be a 4.7 guy, but for a defensive end, that's good. Maybe he's more explosive than what we thought. Now you go watch the film with the 4.58 in your mind, and you're trying to see, do you see aspects of that matching this? When I look at what Brandon Fiske does, I see that what I just saw in the Louisville film, the Florida film, the Wake Forest film that you had posted or that they were showing and posted it up not too long ago. Damn, did I miss Jaheim's second run? Oh, no, they're still on the front. Yeah, they're on the second runs now. What was Jaheim? My bad. Sorry.
No, I'm the same thing. I'm trying to pull something up on Twitter at the same time, but it happens.
But not. Long story short is that they want to see what you've done with your top. Damn, I missed it. Damn, these tight ends moving. They getting after it. But
yeah. Let's see here.
I mean, yeah. I get this whole with the level of talent Miami is bringing in with that comment. I'm sorry, I just got kind of lost. I was responding to something personal, but what talent? Miami's always brought in talent though, right? I mean, minus some of I get it. Yeah, Miami players do better in the NFL than they do in college, but Miami, it's not going to change because I just don't see that changing. I guess that's just what I was saying. I was just reading comments. Sorry, I got lost. Don't mind me.
Yeah, no. A while back we were talking about that. I was saying he's already changed the first part about it because from what we've seen at the combine, it's not looking too hot. Me and James were talking about the fact of how unprepared these Miami guys have been as opposed to the Florida State guys. You saw Braden Fiske. Was it the Senior Bowl? He went and worked out or something. He said, "All right, I'm finna go get that 40 tight, or I'm about to go run a fast 40." And he's been in the lab ever since. And sure enough, he capitalized on it. He sat out. He opted out because he was going to come run a 4.78, 7.8, and be the fastest defensive tackle in the entire draft. And he came out and did it, blew him away. And I think as far as Jared Verse, I think he beat out 7 linebackers as far as his 40 time. Linebackers, safeties, all kinds of stuff we're finding out. So just a pretty unreal performance from the guys top to bottom.
Just one of the things that we got to do is we just got to continue to just look at stuff for what it is, man. It's fun. It's a lot of these different things are going on, but at the end of the day, it's got to translate. It translated because you went 13-0. And
absolutely.
One of the things that I listened to and a lot of the guys said, their goal was to leave Florida State better than what they found it. The national championship obviously was one of the goals too, but it was the major goal was how do we leave the school better than the way we found it? And you can't say without a straight face that Florida State isn't trending in the right direction right now based upon what you've seen. 3-6, 5-7, 10-3, 13-0. Will they be 13-0 next year? Not 100% sure. I doubt it. I think there's going to be 1 to 2 losses. I can't really tell you what those 1 to 2 losses are, but I believe from a talent perspective there, because you can't just look at it based upon what you have in your on your team. It has to be what you have on your team based upon what's on your roster. And when you look at all these different things, and I listened to what these guys said, they're under the belief that we're going to have just as many guys at next year's combine as possible. I mean, they all raved about a lot of the guys. So what is going to be cool is that everybody's going to have the same trolls next year. Now that this guy is gone, what was crazy, right? So talking to Trey Benson, who's a guy who everybody says the only reason Mike is good is because he got Trey Benson. The only reason he's good is because he got Johnny Wilson. Both of them said, I would be nothing without Mike Norvell. Yep. Mike Norvell came and got me when I had no film. There was no reason. you hear that, and you're like, damn, like these guys really feel like they owe a debt of gratitude to Coach Norvell, blessing and changing their lives. And I mean, it's just, again, it was really cool to hear them all speak in the manner in which they spoke about Coach Norvell and the program. And they talked like guys used to talk back in the day. And it actually made me feel better. I can't wait to go watch spring ball. I don't know if I'll be at the first practice like I've been the last 5-6 years, but I will be at one of them.
I can't wait to hear what you say. And what you was just saying about those guys, it really rings true. And I think about Jerry Jones and Renardo Green. Look at two guys, both at Florida State 4 years, one a transfer, one a high schooler, and both, just putting on a show at the combine. Sub 4.4 and a sub 4.5 40. It's a beautiful thing. New to this says like and subscribe, people, and I agree. It's 100% free to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and we appreciate you guys, even you Miami people that are in here giving us a hard time every week. Y'all can subscribe too. What do you think about this? Another round of BS from the NCAA is this 2-minute warning they're looking to bring in after they shortened the season with the running clocks. Now they figured out, we've shortened it enough. We can fit in another massive media timeout. You fair or foul in James's eyes?
Everything is about the bread. That's why I no longer feel sympathy for them not paying. I mean, for them not having to pay the athletes. This is just another way for them to be able to squeeze more money into an already overcrowded field. And because the 2-minute warning does exactly that. They slow it down. But yeah, man, it's capitalism. It's the only reason I tell people I don't complain as much as everybody else is because I have to cover the NFL for a living. So all of this stuff just feels like Sunday. And it might make for a better game because I tell people the game I watch on Sunday is much different than the game that I watch on Saturday.
And it's pretty damn good too. And I've got no problems with it. I want to let people know right here before I open up the phone lines, our friend Sky Knoll has a company called Sports Force, unique sports and military products and gifts. The phone number is right there, her email address, and the X account. She is one of the super most nicest, sweetest people you'll ever meet. She's at all the Florida State home games. She's always helping people out, giving away tickets, doing stuff like that. She made a bunch of these patches in honor of Josh Storms and his strength and conditioning program, and she sent us like 50 of them. So we're gonna, anytime we give away stuff, and we're gonna have us start doing giveaways here in the next month again, like we were doing at the beginning. We're gonna put one of these patches with it. And yeah, go visit her, buy some keychains. She's got all kind of unique stuff over there. Go check out her site. And we appreciate you. And go check her out again. And we're going to open up the phone lines. If you guys have any questions for James, Jen, or I, or just something to get off your chest, you got a take you want to get off, now's the time to do it right here at about the hour mark on the Renegade Rundown.
Sorry, I was having to fill out some paperwork just real quick. I'm done.
Paperwork, man. It sucks being an adult and having to take care of things.
Shit, you have no
Doctor's
idea.
office needed something from me real quick, so I had to go ahead and get that taken care of.
I just had to, while I was up here, I had to wire money for a settlement that I had to do. I hate it. I'm going to tell you this much. If I was in a different lifestyle, that amount of money could get somebody missing. So,
the amount that you had to dole out today.
Yeah, I mean, but it was for peace of mind. A lot of times, what people don't realize is you don't pay because you're guilty. You pay because you pay for your freedom because they try to hem you up by keeping you in court. And when you're in court, you can't make no money.
Without a doubt. Boom! I see some new member action over here. Brad Powers, member for 1 month. I'm not sure why it's lit up. Did he do a super chat? What is that?
I don't know.
Why are you?
Or maybe it's his month anniversary. Maybe.
Oh, okay. So yeah, he resubscribed. Oh, something happened. Huh. Well, we'll see what happened with James there. It won't let me add him.
Uh-oh. Internet
But,
may have gone down, maybe.
Something, but we appreciate you, Brad, for sticking with it and re-upping. And guys, we have memberships. We have members only videos, live streams we do from time to time. We've got a interview with Freddie Stevenson. We've got in-depth behind the scenes conversation about NIL from Darren Heitner, the guy that kind of dealt with that whole Roughshod scene and is one of the top NIL lawyers in the game. So we appreciate all the memberships. And as we move forward, there's going to be more and more fun stuff to talk about. But again, that number is on the bottom of the screen. As we add James back to the stage, he is coming to us live from Indianapolis, Indiana at the NFL Combine, as Florida State is just absolutely dominating over there. And we have some other news. I don't know. This Atkins thing has me absolutely tore up. Like the fact that we could get done twice in a row to be the only school to get hit with one of these rule changes. It just really pisses me off. And I wish I had somebody I could talk to, somebody I could ask. It's just, I hope there's some way they can figure out to at least mediate that thing, do some kind of appeal to get some kind of relief. Like it didn't happen for Daryl Jackson, but I sure hope it happens for our guy Atkins. I know it'll be all right either way, but it's just kind of a pain in the ass. You got the 2-minute warning. Now they're talking about they want to go to a 14-team playoff. And that's another thing I'm curious on your opinion of. I'm fine with it. If you want to give, the 2 buys to the SEC and the Big Ten and only give 1 to the ACC and Big 12, I'm just fine with that. Just as soon as Florida State's out of the ACC. Just as soon as Clemson's out of the ACC. But as it stands right now, Florida State and Clemson have as many national titles combined as the Big 10 and the Big 12 put together. So give us 3. Give the SEC 5 and nobody else gets any more. Like, you know what I mean? So it doesn't really doesn't make sense to me how it sits now. It seems like a bargain for the future. It seems like they kind of already know. It's like they're counting on the ACC to implode at this point with that kind of.
Well,
it's the haves and the have-nots.
Yeah,
it has always been. It will always be that. So.
Well, here's the thing. It doesn't matter whatever Duke lawyer or Wake Forest lawyer or whatever wants to get on Twitter and say, the ACC losing Florida State and Clemson will fall apart. I don't know what crack or meth they're on. I'm not really sure. Cool. Maybe you can share. I mean, not with me. I don't do that, but whatever. But you're so angry. They're so angry. And it's like, your league is going to fall apart without Florida State. You need to start working on something. I don't know what else to tell you because Florida State ain't staying there. And ESPN is not going to renew if Florida State isn't there. There's no money in the ACC network without Florida State. If you see those ratings, the only people watching that, and again, guys, not being mean, nobody watches lacrosse on Saturday mornings. Nobody does. And that's all the ACC network does. The only people that watch the ACC network is during football season, and it's Florida State fans. That's what the ratings say. These are true. This is not me making it up. This is not Florida State fans just being assholes. This is just the truth. So if you think that if Florida State leaves, that ESPN is going to say, oh, let me just continue on with this piece of shit network with our lacrosse and, golf or something or bowling in the afternoon, nobody's watching it. Nobody is. Not even Clemson fans watch it. It's really Florida State fans. If you look at the ratings, it's Florida State fans. I don't know what to tell them.
I mean, it's bigger than that. I mean, when you talk about, the guys that are in the Big Ten or the SEC that say you're not on this level and this, you want to talk about brands. What has YouTube been for the past month? I mean, there's not a YouTube college football show, whether it's national media, regional media, Florida State, Miami, UF, Tennessee, every podcaster and their brother for the past month that has been scrambling to cover and say the same things and talk about the same things that we've been talking about all year. Chris and James have been talking about for years, and now all of a sudden it's cool for everybody to talk about it. It's like Florida State doesn't matter, but that's the only thing anybody with a platform has talked about. I mean, they talk about it on the big show. They put out small shows. It's like it's pretty funny.
Isn't that interesting? Even North Carolina shows, which is weird that they have them because their fan support is so low unless it's basketball season. And then you have mostly Florida State football fans going over there to watch it. But it's so weird that all of these media people are saying, oh, well, Florida State really, if the ACC loses Florida State, they can still survive. How? Someone explain it to me.
It's spin cycle. And they're technically right. They can survive, but they won't survive the same way. It's
no.
It's they have to be able to save face, and that's really what it all comes down to. It's saving face as opposed to telling the truth. And that's one of the problems with media these days. It's sensationalized bullshit where people just feel the need to just say whatever and people kind of go with it. And I think that's where the big problems come in. That's why, but it's not just, I could blame ESPN, but it's not just ESPN. It's a lot of different things. I see it every day when I'm here.
David McKenzie.
Is
the guy's name.
People are going to just say whatever and push whatever narrative that they feel is going to get them in line to get the most views, the most popularity. And it's unfortunate. It's not necessarily right. It's kind of just a situation that we're in as Florida State. We can cry about it, or we can just realize that people are going to be hell-bent on screwing us over. And that's just... It's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
We just got to keep getting better, keep moving forward. Because, again, I think one of the biggest things that's lost on this, and I believe Doug said this best, Doug Rohan, what's the worst that could – the problem is the NCAA pushed us in a position of where we got to be at what's the worst that could happen. What are they going to do? Are they going to, kick us out of the – they can't kick us out. We're either here or we're not. And I think – that there's beauty that comes in that. So, just a lot of people are mad that they're losing something that they thought that they would never lose. I've never been a part of a divorce. Never been a part of a divorce, but I've heard that a lot of divorces kind of get like this, especially when they know that the person is really out of there.
Yeah, to compare it to Alice in Wonderland and talk all that shit. Mr. David McKenzie, look, like James just said, you're losing your cash cow. Everybody in this conference is eating off Florida State and Clemson, and it's coming to an end. So you want to talk crap and stuff, but it doesn't matter. And, to what James was saying, the worst case scenario is Florida State has to pay 500 whatever million. It's never going to come to that. But the worst case scenario is still Florida State out. And even if I'm wrong, the absolute worst freaking thing is, oh, well, you get to carry the conference and we count on you for all our hopes and dreams again. Bobby came in with a super chat. I'm sorry, go ahead first.
Oh, no, you can read his. I responded to him in the chat, but yes, Florida State's viewership has been higher even in their low years as opposed to other teams. I don't. That hasn't changed. They've been the top viewership. That's why.
Oh yeah. Well, let me read it if you're gonna.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
How much? Bobby comes in with a $4.99 super chat. How much does the team's record affect viewership numbers? Do we have numbers from FSU's down years? Were the numbers the same as the last 2 years? Absolutely. Yeah. And
what happens if you look at actually a guy, he ended up saying something. If I still like him, TJ Altmaier. He's posted all of the. It's a good question about Bobby, is because everybody's saying it's just the last 2 years, but this isn't a decision that Florida State's making because they're hot again. This is a decision that Florida State's making because over the last 10, 20 years, which is typically how you take this data, Florida State's level of popularity has never leveled with their record. That's what's insane about this. And if you really think about it, that's why there are such a brand. And it's a brand that's internationally known. Like, it's everywhere I go. When I rock this, like, people know exactly what this is, and they have an idea of it. Especially in the NFL, especially with the Shield. People find out I played for Florida State. What was Bobby like? Oh, did you play for that question? Play for Bobby or Jimbo? And then we go to those different things. But what happens is they showed Florida State is one of 8 schools that is responsible for 50% of the television ratings. My bad. I apologize. It's more than those. It's 10. It's a double digit. It's like 10 to 15 schools. Florida State is one of 10 to 15 schools that is responsible for 50% of all television viewership. Like, whatever the number came out to, don't quote me. I don't have it right in front of me. But it came out to Florida State. If you average it out, they're responsible for 3.5% of the TV viewerships of all 130 something odd Power 5 schools. That's what the only other school that was in the ACC was Clemson. Notre Dame, I guess Notre Dame was involved in that as well. So when people are saying, "Nah, you just want to leave because you're hot," not really. We want to leave because our brand has always been hot. When ESPN its own, they do their surveys. Which is the hottest? I gotta go. My son played his first baseball game. He got hit with a ball, but I think he stole some bases. So I got to get this update so I can still have a son.
Well, thank you for the update, brother.
So, I'll holler with you guys.
Bye, James.
Thanks for the update. Tell Kella and Trey we said, hey, man, thanks for joining us. And Bobby came with a great question in the chat. He says, George, I'm curious. What do you guys think about this? I've been seeing a lot of press conferences, and, of course, the kids are saying all the right things, but does any part of you believe that's your typical coach speak, for lack of a better term? And he goes into, he highly doubts it. He's not saying they're not happy to be there, but how much of it is just manufactured? Because coach speak, basically like a quarterback. You're not going to get him to tell you the absolute truth. He's going to tell you what the best thing is for his team to just get out of there and go. But yeah, a lot of times you see that. Okay. And the way to put that to test, when Willie Taggart was here, the kids were saying all the right thing in the press conference. Yeah, that was the best practice we've had. Yeah, the music sure helps. And yeah, this and yeah, that. So yeah, they're never going to you're not going to be in a position where you can go on a podium and just completely trash your head coach, because then obviously you're not going to be playing anymore. And NFL teams don't want to see you do that. If you had a problem with Willie Taggart, or say somebody has a problem with Mike Norvell, and you get on the NFL Combine stage and you just go to, no, Mike Norvell sucked, Florida State sucked, I'm just a beast, I need to get to the NFL because, that's going to look bad. That's going to, character flaw, whatever. That doesn't come out to confidence. That's arrogance to another degree, uncoachable. All those checks will go down on the list. But, if you heard what James was talking about, there's a difference here. It's not like these guys aren't asking, okay, what was it like?
Sorry.
No, you're fine. It's not, what was it like being with Norvell? Sorry. Or sorry. Just quit saying sorry. Sorry. Where was I at?
I'm not going to say
it. It's not like people are asking. It's not like people are asking pointed questions about Norvell and they're giving them a good answer. No, they're asking hey, what was your what was something that was awesome about being at Florida State? What was the difference about you being at Florida State? And these guys are saying, Mike Norvell, you guys don't understand. And they all say the same exact thing about him. He's the same guy all day long. He doesn't bullshit us. He gives us the raw facts. He's just different. So yeah, no, I don't buy into that. You got to have a bullshit meter, Bobby. And I like to think I have a pretty good one. And you see kind of the results. And this is a pretty fitting question. Time to work in the super chat from Brad Powers, $1.99. We sure appreciate you, bro. What is in the cup, Jen? I hear ice. I don't know if it's Coors Light. I'm thinking maybe some Bellini.
No, there's no ice. That's just my straw.
That's just your straw. Okay. Well, what are we working with? Are you going to keep it a mystery this time, or is it the normal?
Y'all know it's Coors Light. It's Coors Light. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay. Well, another question he had, adding to his super chat question, he says, if Miami goes 13-0 and FSU goes 8-4, which one will have the better viewership?
I'm sorry, if Miami
goes, it's not going to happen. This is an extreme hypothetical. But in a world where Miami went undefeated, 13-0, won the conference, and FSU went 8-4, which one would have the better TV ratings?
Florida State.
Yeah, I agree. It might be close. It might,
I don't think
Miami
so.
might close the gap. They might get up there close to 3 million. It would be tough in one season, but when you do go undefeated, there is a hype that grows. Don't get me wrong. Miami, they'll make a comeback. 8-4 is just too close, because if you're 8-4, that means Florida State was pretty damn good. Angelo says be realistic, but you got to think the big games that Florida State played. Like when you say they're 8-4, that means at one point in time we were 5-1. So you get games, or maybe you're 4-1 or 3-1, or maybe you're 6-2 before you end up 8-4. That means your TV ratings. You're still going to have a game for all the marbles against Notre Dame. You're still going to have a game for all the marbles against Clemson, etc. So I don't see us starting out 0-4, and then you see what I'm saying. So. Angelo's saying be realistic. I am being
He's
realistic.
saying being realistic about Miami winning
going 13-0. No, that was just Bobby's question. Yeah, we all know that's not happening.
I think that's what he was saying. I don't think he was saying be realistic about Florida State being more viewed. We all know Florida State would be more viewed than Miami right now, because we've seen it over the last 20 years. Exactly. Look at the viewership. It's not even close. Even when Florida State won 3 games or something, they still beat Miami in viewership. And Miami, won some games.
Maybe in 2021 or something, like coming off the bad years, but Florida State's built up too much of a fan base right now. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
But they still beat them in viewership even that year by a lot.
Exactly.
That's all I'm saying. So I get it. I get it. It's a hypothetical, Bobby. We love you. We absolutely love you, Bobby. I'm just saying Miami has a lot of work to do in that area. They've got to do it. They've got to work on their fan engagement. And guys, this is not a troll, Bobby. This is not a troll. This is realistic. You guys are going to be stuck in the ACC, possibly maybe going to the Big 12 if y'all don't work on this. You've got to talk to your fan base. I would love to get Brian Hartline out of Ohio State. I don't care who does it. Okay? I don't care who does it. But we've all got to work on it. And if Miami sucks continuously, it's never going to happen. We've got to start keeping those wide receivers away from Brian Hartline. And the fact is, Florida State can't take them all. Florida can't take them all. Miami can't take them all. We got to start divvying these guys out. And if Brian Hartline can start losing them, he can be removed from Ohio State, right? Let's all work together here. I'm trying to be nice. I really am. It's an olive branch.
I'd be fine with him taking an NFL wide receiver coaching job. That'd be just fine with me. Just get him to the NFL or to take another job somewhere else. But Tomcat comes in here. He says, George and Jen, what has to happen in court before FSU can announce they're leaving the conference and go somewhere else? So here's the big thing.
They have to be available.
Well, yep, absolutely. They have to be available. That's kind of the whole crux of the thing. That's what the lawsuit is about. So basically, if they were to just say, screw it, lawsuit, whatever, we're not worried about the grant of rights. If they were to just say we're leaving the ACC, no conference, the SEC or the Big 10 or the Big 12, anybody is going to take them with their grant of rights locked up. You'd be worthless. You couldn't make any money. All the money would still go to the ACC, and you're damn sure not going to take the money from a Big 10 and a SEC conference and send it back. So that's the issue there. So either you need a settlement or you need a win. That's all it is. Either you're going to settle or you're going to win this case, because that's what's holding you up. As soon as you're out of the grant of rights, that's it. You're out of there like a bat out of hell. And that's what this whole thing's about. And it's just a matter of time. Just a matter of time.
Yeah.
Do you have a prediction? What are you feeling like? What's your prediction?
For
when we're going to be out of here? When are they going to settle? When are they going to cave?
I think that this is going to be settled before that August 15th date, and I think Florida State will be playing in their new conference, whichever that might be, in 2025. I think this is such a bad, toxic. This is one of those toxic relationships nobody wants to continue on, right?
The using
Like,
his feelings.
I think this is one of those relationships that like all the friends are like, you guys have got to like work it out, like get out of the house, stop because we're all drained. That's kind of what this is. And I mean, yeah, I think they're going to be out. I think Florida State's out no matter what. I don't care what Mackenzie Law, whatever is at Duke.
That guy's projecting. Here's a good one from the Rock and Roll Pepper Show. He says, George and Jen, can you give me a 1-sentence answer? That's the important part here. A 1-sentence answer so I can get a synopsis of why you choose the Big Ten over the SEC or Florida State. You want to go first? Or you want to go second?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
So we won't be treated like the redheaded stepchild we were in the ACC because you will be in the SEC. Thank you.
Bam. Beautiful. She threw in 1 comma to throw an extra phrase in there. Beautifully built sentence right there. I like it. No, I have to do it. 1 sentence. And that was mine. I was going to say, so you didn't have to be the redheaded stepchild.
You let me go first.
Okay. So 1 sentence of why the Big Ten over the SEC. I would have to say, because I'll drop dead before I do business with ESPN ever again if I'm Florida State. That would be my answer right there.
That's a good one.
So I like that question. With you on that was fun.
I agree with you on that because I'm sorry. I think ESPN, I mean, they've just shown I don't know. I don't even watch it anymore. I used to watch First Take. I used to watch these shows, and it's like everything's been taken from me because they're all such liars. And then like some fans, and I mean, I posted something yesterday that really got the Twitterverse going, and I got all the right fan bases very upset, and I loved every minute of it. You know me. Please bring it on. I'm monetized on Twitter. Y'all keep giving me all these impressions, and I love every freaking minute of it. So please continue to do it. But I'm sitting here looking at this, and I'm going, ESPN is so freaking corrupt. It's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. And these people really probably believe Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. The news is real. No media lies to you. And they're like, oh, well, Florida State did that. You played a bad schedule. You did this. You did that. You did that. Florida State did not play a bad schedule. You guys, I mean, there's so many, these SEC fans and all these people, all these trolls that do the 63-3 bullshit. They're so stupid and they're lazy on purpose. Every last one of you are lazy on purpose. And I will roast you if you come back and say something. And it's going to be bad. I had one guy be like, why are you going to be so mean? I was like, because I told you, if you come back with this comment in my statement, I'm going to roast you. And usually when I roast somebody, yeah, but usually when I roast somebody, it comes off really mean because I mean it to.
Right.
So, you've got to understand, I gave you the warning. You chose to not heed it. Intentional
assholery from Jen sometimes. I give it to him too. I got no patience. Sometimes I try to ignore it for the most part, but every once in a while somebody says something that's just so profoundly stupid that you just have to respond.
Do you ever just, I have kids, you don't, but like sometimes I tell my kids, they tell you there's no such thing as stupid questions. And I have to let them know there are. Okay. There really are. And people get annoyed by these stupid questions. And what's even worse is stupid statements. Stupid statements because you decided to watch Kirk Herbstreit. And by the way, he's so freaking corrupt. And all these people still think that the only reason Florida State was left out was because Jordan Travis was hurt. I cannot stand that comment anymore. All the proof is in the pudding. All the videos have been let out. Florida State was wanted out by ESPN before Jordan was hurt. And if anybody who's an SEC fan doesn't understand this, we're not crazy here. Sorry. It's on video. It's on video.
Facts.
So.
Facts. It's just, I couldn't have said it any better. I could not have said it any better. I'm so over it, that whole thing with leaving us out and all the lies and all the just obvious switches. Greg McElroy, like just it couldn't have been any more obvious. It's just,
do you think he was the biggest? I think he was
that's the
biggest
worst
turncoat.
Worst I've ever seen.
I think I have Josh Pate too on that, because remember how Josh Pate had the whole video about how if Florida State gets left out, he's going to do an hour-long video about what an injustice that is?
Still waiting on that.
Are we still waiting on that video?
He's been saying nice stuff. He thinks we forgot as we look at Jared Verse hitting 31 reps. 31 reps. And that's built by storms. And that goes to the question, Bobby, that you asked earlier. Bobby asked about, is it just lip service from these guys? When you see a guy like Breece Hall, finally explode on the scene, become a real name in the NFL, blow up on, like, I believe it was Sunday Night Football, and he does an interview on ESPN the next day, and they ask him, like, who he feels is the most responsible, who helped him get here, this and that. And the first guy he talks about is Josh Storms. That goes to tell you everything about what's going on, the strength and conditioning. And you just see it. You see how tight everything is. You see the level of athlete that Florida State has at the combine versus some of these other cool schools and how prepared they are. And yeah, Pate, I think Pate he knows exactly what he's doing. I think he's just one of these guys that he has fun and he plays with his audience. He's a national guy, so he doesn't care to he doesn't really care what FSU fans think. He just wants half of them to hate him and half of them to love him. But he really does love Miami. And so that's kind of why I get aggravated a lot with him. It's just like the love and just the repeated, we're going on 2 decades, full decades now, where it's like, Florida State will have 3 or 4 bad years where they trick people. Oh, we thought they were going to be good. They were bad. This shit's been going on for 2 decades. They've had 1 good season, so whatever. But they're going to be great next year, even though they signed 21 3-stars, which is literally a quarter of a roster. So we know their blue chip percentage is under 75 for sure. How low does it go? Florida State's was 41%. Everybody said we couldn't win a game. We go 13-1. Now it's 60-something%, and we're supposed to take some big leap back. Unfortunately for them, it's just not how it's going to happen. It's a program. It is not a team that got built. But we pretty much hit. Is there anything I'm missing? Did we get your opinion on the whole playoff thing? Is there anything you want to cover before we get out of here?
Do you mean the delusion of the SEC wanting a 2-week or 2-round bye? But that's normal for the SEC. Who cares? It's all corrupt anyway. We'll just see what it turns out to when they make the votes. There's nothing anybody can do about it. They're going to do what they're going to do. Greg Sankey is probably out to eat with whoever freaking runs ESPN really right now, which I think is Greg Sankey. But who cares? Who cares? It's all corrupt. Regular season games don't matter. Winning games don't matter. So, yeah, let the SEC just have their way with it, because that's what's going to happen.
Yep. Irish Fell had a really good tweet. He's got a picture of it's John C. Riley, that one where he's just like, looking all over the place. Georgia fans looking at the FSU guys combine results and thinking, none of those names sound familiar. 63 to 3.
I wonder why.
Well, if we just could have seen him. If we could have just seen him against that Georgia defense. But it's all okay. We're going to get to see him for years in the future in the NFL. It's going to be a lot of fun. Guys, we're getting kind of long in the tooth here. Again, the phone number is scrolling across the bottom of the screen, 850-495-1906. If you have a question or a comment before we get out of here for me or Jen, guys, go to renegadereport.substack.com and sign up over there so you can get the audio-only versions of these things. And we're about to start doing articles, start to get a bunch of articles as we get back in here to spring practice and get our writing situation squared away. So make sure you're signed up over there. Make sure you follow Jen at JenSanty1890 on X so she can make some money on her monetized Twitter over there.
That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And don't forget, I mentioned earlier, Sports Force. You can also go over there and check that store out. I'll throw her banner up here again. Sky Knoll is the absolute best, and she's got some good stuff over there. Again, she makes these patches for Josh Storms and Florida State with the American flag on it. They're really cool.
Ooh, I want some of those. Or what are they? Where do they go?
It's
on
an
a
iron.
car?
Yeah, it's an iron-on.
It's an
patch.
iron-on. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I think they're even designing some new ones. It's really neat. I can't wait.
I was wondering if it was like a bumper sticker or something I could put on my car.
They have all kind of stuff over there, and again, the information is up there on the screen, the phone number and the email address. But they do keychains. I think they'll make custom stuff for you. But you can check out the Twitter and stuff and see all the cool stuff they have. She's always making cool stuff, and she's
awesome.
She is an awesome Noel fan. I'm trying to think if there's anything left for us to talk about. Is there anything we have forgotten?
God, was there anything? I thought, okay, so we did what about Atkins? Did we didn't really get that far into that, did we?
Well, you never gave your opinion on it, but I mean, we talked about it. What do you think?
Of course. Look, the NCAA is never going to give Florida State a break. Atkins is not going to be relieved. I'm sorry, guys. Y'all can hate on me if you want to. Because the SEC got mad is the only reason this is reversed.
Yep, there's no doubt about it.
Yep. He's still going to be punished. He's still going to be punished. Just like Daryl Jackson was still punished. And every other team is just going to get away with it, like Florida and Tennessee. You know, the losers who aren't going to win shit next year. Florida, who might not even win 2 games next year. We don't know. But, you know, they're covered because Greg Sankey and ESPN say so.
Yeah, it's just getting the shit into the stick so many times over and over again, whether it be officiating.
How many times this year? How many times within this calendar year? How many times?
Man,
let's discuss. Like, can we discuss?
My normal life, like my daily life, is bleeding into my college football fandom. It's crazy. We need to get off of that schneid, but it's coming. Luckily, with the 12-team playoff, we shouldn't have any problem getting in here the next couple of years, and it's an NFL factory. I can't wait to see what happens. Can't wait to see all these Noles get to the NFL. But I think we've about got to a good place to call her a show. I don't think we have any more questions. We love you guys.
Thank you so much.
And yeah, I guess that's it. We will see you guys. When will we see you guys? Sunday? Sunday. We'll see. We'll see what time. We'll get that out there. We'll let you guys know Sunday morning what time, but probably somewhere around 12, 1, 2 o'clock, something like that. But again, we love you guys. I guess it'd be fair. We might as well leave y'all with Jared verse, just making Florida look foolish. And then we'll see you guys next time. Oh, well, we're still here, guys.